Hey guys, this is What If Deku Had the Omnitrix Part 2 Reboot. Now guys, I am coming, back with all my new content. Back then I posted like literally every single day, and I'm coming back with that energy more than ever to try to get my views back up and to try to dive back into my YouTube life and basically trying to thrive in YouTube. So I'm diving right back into YouTube at full thrust now. So let's dive right into it, and let's start with this what if, continuation of this what if. What if Deku had the Omnitrix Part 2 Reboot? Now last left off, where Deku would have gone back home, and he would have also came across pretty much a alien bounty hunter that would kill him for the Omnitrix, but he would have been able to overpower him using Ditto. After that, Deku would have gone to sleep later that night, and we would see that Deku would have arrived at UA the next day, as he would have been in Class 1A. So class would have gone somewhere the same, except All Might would have walked into class, telling everybody to get their hero costumes, and the story would have changed even more because Deku's new hero costume. Deku didn't have a use for his original hero costume in the story, so he didn't have one for all in this universe, and he only had the Omnitrix. So his costume design was mainly based off durability and the factor of how it could help him without the Omnitrix in use. So this is what Deku's hero costume looks like. And basically, the function of this suit is more or less an L-type, well, Kevlar-type pattern underneath the suit fabric that basically gives him a knife-proof, bulletproof type vest suit. It can only take a few, shots, around 9mm, like a lot of shots before it starts to really start wear down and break apart. As it can also take a few beatings to the face, chest, and the main portion of the area. Now this suit does have a mask portion of the suit. It's more or less more of a force field. The force field comes up from the collar of the suit around his face, making his face visible, but it being pretty much bulletproof and pretty much durable as the rest of the suit, as long as the suit's on, as the suit has to be charged every few couple of hours, as the suit's charged by the Omnitrix energy as an outside source of energy to the suit. So Deku has to have the Omnitrix for the suit to work or function. As if the suit is, the suit also, if the Omnitrix is timed out, that Omnitrix can be charged up faster with the help of the suit, since the suit will charge up the Omnitrix using the energy it took from the Omnitrix earlier to power the suit to charge up the Omnitrix more, giving Deku a shorter amount of cooldown time, but not giving him a longer amount of Omnitrix time, as his cooldown time will be shortened about a minute, only him having 9 minutes to cool down and having 10 minutes to power up. So that's the only thing I'm going to give him, because I ain't going to make him super overpowered like he can just turn anytime he wants. I'm going to make him that level of Omnitrix, using right now. But Deku's suit is pretty durable. Now, it's not invulnerable. It's definitely nothing like that. But it is really durable and can take a few shotgun and stab wounds and other things like that. But more or less like actual straight up stabs from katanas and stuff, the blade will either bend, but if it's stronger enough force, it could cut through the fabric or cut through the Kevlar or the suit entirely. But slices, cuts, and scrapes and bullets sometimes won't penetrate the suit, but will leave a nasty bruise or mark on Deku's body. So it doesn't help Deku completely, but it does stop the damage from, progressing anymore. So let's dive into the combat training. Now, Deku would have gotten a suit on. Everybody would be kind of impressed by his suit, as Deku would have walked in, as everybody would have been told about how everything was going to go down, as they're going to be teamed up with each other and put together as a team. As Deku would have been teamed with Ochaku, as Ochaku and him would have been talking to each other before the match happened, flirting with each other a little bit, as they would have gotten ready. As Deku would have looked dead at her and basically would have, smirked at her and saying, "Let's go." As the match would start, as he would have told Ochaku to go upstairs to try to mess around with Ida, and him saying that I know Bakugo and that he will come downstairs and he'll try to take on me. As he would have ran off from Ochaku, as Ochaku would have ran up the stairs trying to get to Ida or the bomb room. As Deku would have been running up the hallways, down the stairs, up the stairs, trying to find Bakugo to take him out, since he was the biggest threat to them, as they didn't know the full extent of Ida's gifts or powers but he did know for certain that he really did have a little bit of an upper hand on Bakugo. But Bakugo knowing Deku had power, it pushed him even farther, making Bakugo even more stronger in this canon at this point in the story. Now you would see that Bakugo would have gone into a fighting stance as Deku would have ran in there, as they would have been staring off at each other. As Deku would have gone for the Omnitrix, but Bakugo pretty much propelling himself forwards before Deku can even go for the Omnitrix, blowing a huge explosion in Deku's face, pushing him upside the building, basically, pushing him about 3 to 4 stories up, as they would have been right underneath the bomb room, as they would have started to duke it out, as Deku would have been pushed against another pillar, as he would have been coughing up blood as his suit would have started to wear down, as he was being blown up after explosion, got thrown over about 4 to 5 stories of concrete floor, literally chucked through about 4 pillars in a row with one big-ass explosion. And Deku was coughing up blood, bad condition. As Deku would have pressed the Omnitrix, finally having enough breathing time, as Bakugo would have been pushed back by Forearms. As Forearms would have ran or rushed towards Bakugo, as Bakugo would have dodged one of his punches, throwing a huge explosion at Forearms' face. As he would have grabbed Bakugo, Forearms chucking Bakugo upside another pillar, knocking that pillar into 2, Bakugo coughing up blood as well. As he would have been grabbed by the leg and chucked against another pillar, breaking Bakugo's left shoulder, or pretty much more or less dislocating it. As Bakugo would have fell onto the ground, as he would have ran off, running into a nearby pillar, knocking his shoulder back in place. As he would have pulled his gauntlet, as it would have released a huge explosion towards Deku. As Deku would have taken the explosion full on, ate that explosion, as he would have rushed towards Bakugo, straight up pummeling him against a pillar, as he would have been duking him down into a pile of mush, as Bakugo would have been a bloody mess, as Bakugo would have pulled his other pin right towards Deku's face, pushing Deku down into the ground since it was a very closer shot, and also it was no discriminatory. So Bakugo was on the floor, a little bit charred, and Deku was on the floor as well. As Deku got up, coughing up blood, and also wobbling it a little bit, as he would have got a piece of a rubble and chucked it at Bakugo's forehead, knocking Bakugo out. As Deku would have won the fight against Bakugo. As we would have seen that it would be some, pretty much commotion up on the ceiling. As Deku would have jumped through the ceiling, jumping right underneath Ida, as he would have pushed Ida off balance, pushing Ida down to the ground. As Deku would have looked at Ida, as Deku would have timed out at that very moment. As Deku would have fell through the floor again, falling down on the building, or falling down in the pretty much floor he knocked out Bakugo on, as Ida would have jumped down the hole, basically running off down the stairs with the bomb, as Deku would have tried to run after him. As Deku would have seen Ida run down the stairs, as it would have been a stairway, as Deku would have jumped down the stairway, jumping past Ida, grabbing the stairway, almost dislocating his whole arm, as he would have jumped on top of Ida halfway through, and basically would have knocked the absolute snot out of him using his body weight as a huge punch, as he would have straight up drop kicked Ida into a nearby wall, as he would have grabbed the bomb before it fell, as he would have been on the stairs, broken up, but still winning the fight, or winning the combat training. As the combat training would have won, as everybody would have been, pretty impressed by this, as after that, Bakugo would have been kind of pissed, but Deku would have won, as All Might would have seen more of an interest in Deku, but him knowing that he already gave his quirk to Mirio, as Mirio is a really good successor, but Deku's powers and how he uses his powers and how versatile he is once he has his time limit is crazy insane. As Deku would have been running back home, as he would have been a little bit late because his mom said he was going to cook dinner tonight. He said he was going to cook dinner tonight, as he would have walked into his room, as he would have closed the door, taking off his UA uniform, getting into some sweatpants and a black shirt, as he would have ran off, as he would have stopped in his tracks, as he would have seen of all things, something very scary in front of him, as he would have seen a big crab type of robot alien in front of his face, as Deku would have jumped back, going for the Omnitrix, as he would have told the alien, "Why are you here?" as it would have said, "I'm here for that." As it would have shocked Deku against the wall, hitting him through the wall into his backyard, making him fall down to the ground like a sack of potatoes. Him falling into the nearby pool in the backyard, as Deku would have swam up on the top, as pretty much the alien would have started to shoot the water of the pool with blast after blast after blast, as it would have been a dead silence after a while, as Deku would have popped out the water in Ripjaw's form. As Deku would have started to slash and pretty much gnarl and bite towards the alien, as he would have started to dodge and weave and punch more attacks, as he would have grabbed the alien, eventually throwing him into the pool and pushing and pulling the robot apart, ripping off its arm as the robot would have retreated, shooting Deku in the chest with a blast of energy, pushing him out the water, and the alien fleeing away. As Deku would have gotten back up, as he would have said, "This is a problem and they know where I live." As he would have gotten back up, and him still having the robot's arm in his mouth, as he would have seen him start to tick and tick and tick, as Deku would eventually find a part of the arm that was a bomb, as he would have ripped it out and chucked that part up into the sky as hard as possible, as it would have blown up at a safe distance. As Deku would have grabbed the rest of the arm, as he would have started to tinker and mess with it later that night in his gray matter form, as it would have been interesting to him, and more or less, I would say, unique, as he would have been confused on why these things were after him just for the Omnitrix, as he knew the Omnitrix was very powerful. But honestly, Deku didn't know people were looking for it, and it's been years since he's had it. Why did it just now start looking for it? Now, we would see that Deku would have been tweaking around the Omnitrix, but before that, he would have made dinner, had a good time with his mom, not really telling his mom what was going on, but him looking at the Omnitrix, as at night, he would have got a knock at the door, as he would have opened the door, as he would have seen. I'm gonna leave it out here, guys. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you guys like and subscribe. And as always, guys, have a blessed day. Deuces.